Hi, and welcome to the Ant-Man channel. It is Saturday the 9th of November 2013, and I had an itch to report the news. I have a couple of articles in front of me, that's why I was should I read these right now or not? It is Saturday, and there's like UFC on in like 15 minutes. I'm just kidding. But, anyways, yeah, on the least reported news day of the week, I'm gonna get the news straight up. I'm trying to see what I'm gonna read right now. Okay, I'll read this one. This article is from girlsjustwannahaveguns.com, and it is written by Patrick Kane. I'll just go ahead and start it off. Predicted future: 3 dystopian novels America is starting to resemble. So, for all the illiterate out there, or people who just don't like reading books or whatever, or I understand a lot of people out there don't, didn't learn how to read and they didn't have that privilege and all that. But yeah, I don't know where I was exactly going with that. Oh yeah, because if you haven't read any books from maybe authors like George Orwell or something like that, then you would understand where I'm already going with this, or where Mr. Patrick Kane is already going with this. While reading this article, please consider the fact that the United States government has killed American citizens without trial via drone strikes, is over $17 trillion in debt, over $150,000 per citizen. I don't even know what this word is. Surreptitiously? Somebody help me with that. So surreptitiously spies on all electronic communications of both citizens and foreign leaders, has refused to stop spying even after being caught, persecutes journalists and whistleblowers for exposing crimes they commit, targets people based on their political and religious beliefs via the IRS. So regularly kill innocent citizens and their dogs. Oh yeah, I always remember that poor dog that got shot by the cop. I mean, really, it stirs me up. Regularly kill innocent citizens and their dogs during no-knock raids, where they break into citizens' homes at night and they kill the owner if they try to defend themselves. Atlas shrugged. With the revelation that the government is watching the world's online activity, many people turn to encrypted email services such as Lavabit and Silent Circle to keep their private matters private. In response, the U.S. government petitioned these businesses, demanding that they turn over their customers' encrypted correspondences. Instead of complying, many of these groups shut down their services to avoid betraying their customers. It's freaking out of control. That's an out of control government for you right there. And an unfortunate pastiche of Randian heroes. Companies like Lavabit shut down their businesses, leaving only a short message on their website explaining how the government had driven them out of business. Though the government is acting out scenes from Rand's epic almost verbatim, thankfully some of the entrepreneurs bullied by the government are too. Luckily, unlike in Atlas Shrugged, owner and operator of Lavabit, Ladar Levison, is fighting this abhorrent breach of privacy in the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals instead of hiding in the mountains. V for Vendetta. Which really, yeah, that one's really crazy. I like that movie too. But you look at it so much differently when you're when you haven't seen it in a number of years, and you look at it very differently now. What's really striking about this graphic novel is how the society in the story isn't an impoverished, decaying metropolis like most fictional dystopian societies. Citizens in this novel seem to live in an almost identical fashion to us. People seem to be employed, with enough money to afford decent homes and things, and appear to be relatively happy. People in this novel live comfortably, but at the price of almost all of their freedom. They are constantly monitored by the state and are subject to a highly militarized police. And no one questions it. That's how the scientific dictatorship works, though. What would be the word? I always say the word condition, but there's a better word for this. I guess they'll get you like ready for it. You know what I mean? They get you ready for it subconsciously. The rulers in this novel aren't flamboyantly oppressive. They don't overtly assert themselves because they don't have to. This is because for years they have subtly crept their insidious tyranny into everyday life. And this is what makes the totalitarian regime in this book so horrifying. Yeah, I mean, we could quote Aristotle. We can quote a lot of very old, um, very smart people. I guess you could say philosophers. And in saying that, republics usually turn into, democracies, and democracies usually degenerate into, despotisms. So, that's a quote from Aristotle, but like that's nothing is new under the sun. You see, we just happen to be in one of those times where we got an empire that's out of control. It happens once in a while, I guess you can say. 1984. If for anyone who hasn't read 1984, that one is really, that book is really, it transcends. I really don't. I don't know if it was intentional that he wrote it that way, but it was very, very close to reality. And there are countless similarities between our society and Oceania that can be pointed out. The NSA watching everything we do online, the constant sacrificing of liberty for safety, Big Brother telling us how to raise our children, etc. However, there is one similarity between Orwell's fictional society and ours that struck me as particularly relevant. For some masochistic reason, I found myself watching CNN last night. I'll turn on CNN once in a while, but then I can't usually take it for longer than 10 seconds, so I'm like, why are we discussing this? I mean, it's like Wolf Blitzer talking about, like, I don't know, Miley Cyrus or something. It's like, what am I doing here? Someone was doing some hot cold puff piece on Afghanistan and found one of Orwell's eerier slogans looping through my head. We have always been at war with East Asia. I realized that being born in 1993, I honestly could not remember a time when America was not at war with the Middle East. While I was born at a time there was no war going on, I was too young to realize or appreciate it. Now there is now an entire generation of teenagers who have spent their entire lives during a time of war. Living during a war is usual and banal for us. It's all many of us have ever known. To live in a time of peace would be an anomaly for those born in the last decade. Many will have a difficult time conceptualizing the true nature of living during a war because it will be blended in our memories with the Halcyon days of childhood. Most will never be affected by what happens thousands of miles away, so it won't seem all that terrible those things are going on. With no end to the conflict in the Middle East in sight, it is possible that we could live most of, if not all of our lives during a time of war. Slowly, anti-war sentiment could die down completely as the memories of peace times get more and more distant. We won't question what the government is doing overseas simply because they've always been doing it. Well, yeah, that's the gist, I guess you could say. So he compared modern day America to V for Vendetta, 1984, and Atlas Shrugged. So if you've never seen any of those graphic novels or read them or seen the movie that they made about V for Vendetta, yeah, even today, like with the movies like Captain America, those movies are symbolically trying to tell you stuff. Like Captain America is really, he finds out he's working for, a shadow government, and then he, you know what I mean? That's like what the movie's about. He finds out that he is working for the enemy. The whole time he's been working for the enemy. So that's really, you get that in our movies today. These subliminal messages that try to tell you that this is real and that this goes on in everyday life, and it's not just Democrats and Republicans playing politics and in the House and all that. It's really, there's something more to it than all that, and it starts with all of us. You cannot put your responsibilities into someone else's hands and expect good results. I mean, you got to go out there and do it yourself, and this has to do with being aware. There's no excuse for a lack of information or being misinformed because you could see these things very clearly, and I learn things every day. You know what I mean? I'm not on claim to know everything, but I definitely I look at things from a skeptic point of view. Is it true or is it a lie? Because I know that people are good at lying sometimes, and they will do that to you. They will lie to you, and who knows? Whether it be for money or political agendas or whatever. Not everything you hear is coming from a heart of, you know what I mean, a good heart. You know what I mean? What is a good heart? But anyway, I'll be reporting the news later on. I'll have 2 more articles that I will be posting up today, so hit the subscribe button if you find my channel intriguing. Thank you. God bless.